Hi Crafty friend, it's me, Justine Dvorak from Stationery by Justine, where when I craft, my world stands still. I hope you're doing so well. Today I'm going to make a poker themed card with some spooky looking pattern paper. I don't know, to me this is like Halloween-y. I don't know why, but to me it worked with the overall theme of my card, and I love the colors on this pattern paper, so I just went with it. Kind of like the black, red, and white for like playing cards and poker chips. But it ends up looking really cool at the end, so stick with me. I'm going to use some nesting dies that I had in my stash here, using the 3 largest ones. And I know it looks a little like spooky with the candelabra there on the pattern paper, but it doesn't end up being a spooky card. So if spooky things aren't your thing, stay with me, please. It'll be fine. Okay. I'm also using the stamp set Lovely Bouquet, also from Pajama Crafter Stamps. So this new stamp that I'm going to be mainly focused on is called Game Night from Pajama Crafter Stamps. It has that bingo stamp that you can see down on the corner. I am loving the bingo stamp, but the cards are also really fun as well. As I am filming this, I know there are some really bad hurricanes going on in the US, so if you have been affected by that, I am so sorry, and know that you are in my prayers. I've been praying like crazy for everyone involved with the hurricanes. So back to the card, I did do just a little bit of fussy cutting, if you will, on the edge of that paper. For whatever reason, it did not die cut perfectly, but that's just fine. I'm going to make this pattern paper more interesting by using some Distress ink. I just wanted to test it out. So yes, I used my finger, but this Lovely Bouquet stamp set is going to give some little extra oomph to my background paper here. Now you really don't see a lot of this on the finished card, but it is there, and it does look really cool with my floral patterned paper that I have on the top right. So I thought that this was a nice little extra, but as I'm stamping this out, I think this would be a really fun kind of like a sympathy style card. It didn't even stamp perfectly, but it's fine because it's going to be covered up a lot of it, but the thought of it is still there and you can still see it. So I thought it was definitely worth my time in adding that on. Plus, I love using a whole bunch of stamps, and I love using a lot of things on my cards. I think a lot of times more is more. At least that's my opinion, you know? So on this part, I'm going to use that same stamp, but I'm going to use some Versamark embossing ink, and we're going to emboss this pattern paper. It is super smooth, but I did want to use my rabbit hole little anti-static tool there. Super sticky. Look, it picks up the whole pad. And I'm going to just add a little bit of some flowers here on the edges, the top and the bottom. Again, a lot of this will be covered up, but a lot of it, not maybe a lot of it, but enough of it will show that I think it was worth my time to stamp and emboss. Again, just adding more oomph and texture to the card. So I love that. Look at how cool that white embossing powder looks on the darker pattern paper. Now you might wonder, where in the world is this pattern paper from? I don't know. I have a lot of pattern paper in my stash, and recently I've been trying to use my pattern paper and not hoard it in my craft room. I am given a lot of pattern paper by friends, moms at school. I'm a kindergarten teacher, if you did not know. Ladies at church, family, friends, aunts. I've been given a lot of pattern paper from just about everywhere. So I don't know where this is from, but I do think that it definitely coordinates well together. So as I was doing this, I was watching some very trashy reality TV, which we're just gonna let that be, but I did end up I burned some of the top of that. Do you see it's kind of yellow right above where my cards were right there? Ugh, I hate when I do that, but sometimes it happens. I think I do have a little bit of attention issues sometimes, but yeah, this ink, that whole thing just, no, it did not look good, so I ended up wiping it off. We're just going to pretend like you didn't see that. It was an attempt to cover up the burned look, but we're going to cover it up in a different way. But, you know, if the burned look is what you're going for, like some kind of a distress, darker kind of card, then that could be really fun as well. I ended up pulling out this really gorgeous red color cardstock. Again, I don't know where it's from. It's stunning though. I love this red. I feel like it's kind of like a scarlet kind of red. And a nesting die that I've had in my stash for a long time now. This is the Fluted Circles from Spellbinders. It is retired. Womp womp. But whatever. I'm going to die cut this out and have this be a little bit of a landing spot for my stamped images to go on. I think that this works really well when I'm pairing pattern paper with a stamp and giving the stamp a spot to be on that isn't going to be a spot that gets lost in the pattern paper. So this really does cover up any of the burnt areas, and it gives a spot for my stamps to land on. And that is in general what the overall layout's going to look like. But let's get to the coloring section. And you might see me on the side here. I am looking up poker chips and what they typically look like, because honestly, I have no idea. I've been in a casino or two once or twice, but I've never played poker. I don't know. So I needed to refresh my mind. What do poker chips look like? Spoiler alert, they can look like anything. I think the traditional colors are that red, blue, green, but look at these ones. They're so colorful. And I thought if they can have hot pink ones, I can have some red ones, you know. So then I looked up to my Copic markers that are in my marker mansion. Shout out to my dad for making my marker mansion for me. I love it. And I grabbed my R39, which is a red color. And I wanted to have red and black chips. So let's get really close to the coloring here. You could totally repeat this with any color at all, but I am going and making kind of every other-ish coin red and skipping in between to make the edges have that white speckled look on the side. And then I'm going to go in with a darker gray to make the black chips and have it be kind of two chips in one. I thought about having each chip value be a different color, but I thought that, you know, that's just not what we're doing here today. My little colorless blender came in handy for covering up a little bit of an out of the line coloring moment that I had, but we'll just not talk about that. Anyway, the reason why I'm using C10, the cool gray, and not a black Copic marker is because I find the black to be a little too harsh when Copic coloring, unless I need it to be like midnight dark black. And you might notice both caps are off of my Copic marker here because my marker was really juicy for whatever reason. So I find that whenever that happens, I like to take both caps off, and it just releases a little bit of the pressure and doesn't let as much ink come out of my marker. So little tip for you there. I was not in love with how the 5 is on the poker chips there. It just turned out a little bit dark, but I am going to cover up that a little bit with my sentiment, so no problemo. I also wish I would have made the stack of poker chips, the highest stack on the right, I wish I would have made that one the dark gray as well, just to have it a little bit of a contrast with red and red, dark and dark. But next time. It's the beauty of making multiple stamps or die cuts with my stamps. Now I'll put this black paper on. I love how that turned out just with that lovely bouquet. I think I'm going to be pulling that lovely bouquet out more often and making some fun cards with that set because I do love the bouquet. It is lovely. I'll put on my pattern paper there. I don't think it has an up or down. The words aren't really words. They're just kind of like these weird symbols. So I think that it works out how it went on. And then put on this piece that I did the embossing, the heat embossing on. and then add my circle. Whenever I add my circle and I notice this paper is warped a little, I'm going to go a little bit extra heavy-handed with the glue just so it is nice and flat on, and really press all around the edges. I don't need anything lifting up. Then I'll add on my cute cards and poker. I want to add them on at the same time to make sure that they're in just the right spot, so I used my reverse tweezers. Perfect. Then for my Make-A-Wish sentiment, I'm going to use some foam and pop it up. These foam strips have been my favorite foam. Nothing fancy, but it does the job. The Make-A-Wish is from Simon Hurley and Spellbinders. It's one that I have had in my collection for a while. I think it is a BetterPress sentiment set that I ended up glimmering with the white matte foil on black paper. And anytime I foil, I use the Pajama Crafter Stamps black paper. I don't know why, I just had like a brain moment there. But that black paper from Pajama Crafter Stamps is perfect for foiling. So definitely check that out if you are a foil person and you have not yet. Now I'm going to finish off this cool card with the Girl's Best Friend embellishments. These seriously look like diamonds. And I'm going to put them on top of my glue. So this glue is the Barely Arch liquid glue. It dries clear, but when it's on right away, it makes the rhinestones look white, but when it is clear, they look like diamonds. It's so pretty. I will show you a finished picture at the end of this video so you can see what they look like when it's all finished. But I just want to take this chance right now and just tell you I appreciate you watching all the way to the end, and I would love for you to let me know in the comments what you think about this card. I love hearing your thoughts, and your opinions do matter to me. See, look at those crystals. They really do look like diamonds. Just so gorgeous. Anyway, once again, thank you, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.